and thank you for joining me on the show today. This is the Now Talks, a collection of inspiring personal stories and leadership lessons from some of the world's most iconic leaders. It is the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. My name is Dr. Tina Alton, and I'm your host for today and the coming weeks. Welcome again to another edition of the Now Woman Talks, the podcast for every woman in leadership. Our conversation today will be looking to understand some of the motivations that shape your environment, unlocks your potential, becomes a limiting barrier, and how we can actually embrace actions that ultimately shape our future. So I want to talk to us about beyond limitations, embracing actions that shape your future. So imagine aligning every decision with a clear purpose. How transformative would that be for your personal life, your professional life? Thought. So let's explore now. How can we understand, what motivates you as a person, as a leader, whether it's defining your goals, whether it's in choosing friendships, whether it's in setting boundaries. How can the motivations that propel us in terms of our actions, how can these shape us as a person, as a human, as a woman, and ultimately as a leader? How can we grow through that? So in this specific episode, we're going to unravel the layers of decision making, self-perception, all of those factors that influence our daily lives, questioning the motives behind our choices that impact our surroundings. We would hopefully be able to uncover how to consciously craft a life that truly reflects, truly, the woman that you've been created and called to be. So, first question is, why do you choose what you choose? Why are you saying what you're saying? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you going where you're going? What is your why? What is the reason behind your choices, your thoughts, your decisions, your actions? What truly is motivating these? Understanding the why behind everything you do, the actions you take or you don't take, is very crucial in terms of helping you to clarify the way forward. Also is crucial in terms of aligning your efforts, i.e. your actions, the things you do, the things the places you go, all the things you do, all your efforts with the values that are truly at the core of who you are, right? There's research to show that individuals with very clear sense of purpose are 50% more likely to be engaged and productive as far as work is concerned. Now, there is a number of ways that you can actually introspect in terms of being able to sit for a moment or pause for a moment and consider, what is my motivation for what I'm about to do or what I'm about to say or where I'm about to go. You fill in the blank. And things like journaling, perhaps after an experience, you just sit down and you think through, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Have you said something before once you thought, no, I should not have said that, or I should not have done that? If you've ever had that experience before, then can I encourage you to sit for a moment and perhaps take yourself back to that time, that, moment in time, and explore what motivated you to say that, to do that, to choose that. And then perhaps sometimes you might, have a pleasant surprise, or you might actually uncover the motivation for the choices you make, the actions you take, are probably a little bit deeper in the sense of maybe an experience you've had in the past. It can deal with trust, it can deal with anything at all. But until you allow yourself to really reflect and introspect and consider, you would probably find that you would be making similar mistakes, similar choices, or similar pathways you would choose in terms of your actions will be of a setting or particular pattern. And that's because there is an underlying factor that motivates your actions. So here's a challenge for you for 1 week, and that is this week, right from today, as you're listening to the podcast. I want you to sit back and journal about the reasons behind some of the major decisions you've made each day. So take Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or whichever day you want to start, that's fine. But each day, sit down and journal, think through, introspect, review what was the reason behind the decisions that you made. And try to identify is there any patterns, any revelations, what truly motivates you, what's truly underlying your decision making process. Simon Sinek, the author of Start With Why, emphasizes that people don't often, in terms of business or sales or whatever, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So, and if you're in business, then that's a bonus. You need to understand, why am I doing what I'm doing? The next thing is, how are you actually guiding yourself in terms of your goals? Because if your actions, as I said at the beginning, if your actions shape your future, then it means that, those actions will come out of perhaps goals that you set or goals that you don't set. So set meaningful and measurable goals to direct your life's trajectory. Dr. Gales Matthews found that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them compared to those who don't. And the same, Dr. Edwin Locke, a leading researcher in goal-setting theory, states this: specific and challenging goals, along with appropriate feedback, contribute to higher and better task performance. So whatever it is that your hands find to do, you have to do it with joy. You have to do it diligently. So how are you going to set goals? Sometimes it's easier to actually break it down into whatever size goal it is, into smaller, achievable goals. And recognize that every step you take forward is progress. It doesn't have to be a big, gigantic step. Every step you take forward is progress, and every step you take forward is a step forward as opposed to a step that you never take at all. So, understanding that incremental progress is what will build sustainable results over time. And if you don't take any step at all, guess what? Nothing's going to happen. So, set one goal, set one professional goal, think about the SMART goal criteria, and track how you're doing on a daily basis. The next thing to think about, as far as our conversation today, what actions is shaping your life. It's important to know that the actions to take really sometimes can be dependent on your mindset. Do you have a growth mindset or do you have a fixed mindset? A growth mindset can dramatically affect your approach to challenges and opportunities. Maybe you see, you're going through a situation, but instead of looking at it as a challenge, you can see it as an opportunity. There's research from Stanford University that shows that individuals with a growth mindset are 34% more likely to achieve their goals. So, how then do I shift my mindset, you say? Step one is cultivate a growth mindset, and that is when you go through challenges, learn from them. That's the first step. Never mind, having 3,000 techniques and all of those things to shift your mindset. The first place you can first place you can start is from every challenge or difficulty that you go through, learn from it. Sit down and ask yourself this question: what did I learn from this experience? So, a good action or challenge is identify one recurring, perhaps negative belief, something that you believe that is actually limiting your mindset, limiting how you see yourself, limiting your perspective on life, limiting, your flavor for life. So identify one recurring pattern, maybe a thought, something that you keep thinking that whenever you think about that, whenever that thought comes through, it stops you in your tracks. And try and reframe it. Try and sit back and look at what can I learn from it, right? Carol Dweck, the author of Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, highlights this fact. A growth mindset creates a love for learning and resistance that is essential for great accomplishment. So there we are. The first thing or the first technique that I want to teach you today, as far as shifting your mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, is always learn from your challenges. You also have to develop healthy habits. Habit formation um, is very crucial for us as leaders. And you have to also understand that your habits didn't just appear. It's a culmination of things that you've done over time, repetitively over time. That's just become a habit. How often do you hear someone say, oh, it's just how I am, right? It's just a habit. It can be as simple as you sit in a car and you take a specific route, even though you might have navigation system trying to give you directions, and you just do your own thing because it's a habit, right? So understanding how habits are formed can help establish routines that will support you in a more positive way, right? There is studies to indicate that it takes on average 66 days to form a new habit. I used to think it was 21 days, but I think with 21 days, you would have been able to establish a pattern of some sort. So incorporate habits, core habits. And this would require proactive planning, preparation, and really thinking through, first of all, by identifying what is the habit in my life, or what is the habit in your life that is limiting you, that is stopping you, that is not allowing you to grow, allowing you to progress, or allowing you to lead well as a leader. What are those habits? Right. Now that you've identified what that habit is, you want to look at, okay, how do I counteract this habit? And there's a fascinating book I read called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a great, great book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend you want to read that book, Atomic Habits. And it really teaches you how to form new habits, how to get rid of bad habits, and how to really discipline yourself in terms of, if you've chosen a new habit, to wipe out or to cross out bad habit. How do you develop that skill, or I would say that mental muscle, to stick with it? Okay. And also it's important to understand this. Habits are the brain's way of saving effort. So by understanding how they work in terms of habits, you can reprogram, some of those habits if they are not positive habits, right? It's also important to know your environment will ultimately impact your actions, the choices, your thought process. Surrounding yourself with supportive or positive individuals is so important. I can't even overemphasize it. The Harvard Business Review reveals that people are 70% more likely to achieve their goals if they had a supportive network. So the question is, who do you have in your circle? Right? Who do you have in your circle? You've got to have, for me personally, I have different circles as far as my business, or as a businesswoman, as a leader, as a mom, as a wife. You have to have people that can pour into your life, or people that can, hold you accountable, people that you can go to for wisdom, for advice, or for correction, whatever it is you need. But the one thing you can't afford is to not have the right people in your circle. So here's the thought. Assess your current circle or your current environment and make one change this month. If there are people within your circle that are not necessarily creating a positive impact in your life, then you need to do something about it. And James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, suggests that environment is an invisible hand that shapes human behavior. How true is that? Designing our environment to support our goals can make them so much more easier to achieve. So there we are. Highly, highly, highly recommend you get the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's available on Amazon. It's a great, great book that will make a tremendous difference to your life. It's important to know that sometimes the actions that we take in our life or actions that form our life really can come from um, limiting beliefs. So, what is something that you've believed that is actually a limitation in your life? There was a study done by University College London that found that 80% of people have at least one significant self-limiting belief that holds them back. Truth is, you're not alone. We all have something that we've believed that is a lie, that is somehow holding us back in some way, some form, some aspect of our lives. Now, the only way to rise above that, or the only way to do that, or to break that, is to actually know what is it. So you want to kind of like be aware of, what are your thought patterns? How do I think? What is it that I believe? And with that awareness, you may well find that maybe in interacting with somebody that pops up and aha, okay. So this is something I've come to believe that is not true and is ultimately limiting me. Or you may already know that already, right? So here's the challenge or some action you can take, and that is write down 3 self-limiting beliefs and counter them with, the opposite. So if you believe you're XYZ, what is the opposite of that? What is the truth, side of that, right? Dr. Carol Dweck again points out the beliefs about our abilities and potential plays a critical role in determining how well we do in life. Okay. So it's very, very important that you know what is the self-limiting belief that is operating in your life. Now, here's another thought for us is that we all somehow, somewhere inside of us, inherently have the capability to be compassionate towards others. But how often do we actually extend the same compassion to ourselves? Perhaps when we make a wrong choice or when we, need it the most, right? We need to set healthy boundaries, and healthy boundaries will help as far as our daily routines, how we care for ourselves. I was reading the book 12 Rules of Life by Jordan B. Peterson talks about take care of yourself. This is me paraphrasing is take care of yourself as someone who's important, as someone who's worthy of being taken care of. Now, all of us, if we're faced with taking care of somebody, caring for somebody in a compassionate way, we will do it. But we don't do that to ourselves. So again, it's very, very important that we look at ourselves and we take care of ourselves as somebody who's worthy and important and valuable enough to be taken care of. Okay. There is also research in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine that shows that practicing self compassion leads to a 50% increase in emotional resilience and overall well being. So, here is it, my friends extend compassion to yourself as naturally as you do to others. So, here's a thought implement a weekly self care routine that focuses on improving your mental and emotional well being. Where in your life do you need to give yourself a little bit of compassion? Christine Neff, a leading researcher in self compassion, says that self compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a good friend in times of a struggle or a challenge. So here we are. Encourage yourself in terms of reflecting on, your own life, your choices, your actions, your behavior, your patterns, whatever you need to fill the blanking with, and maintain that awareness of why am I doing this? What is motivating this? What is the underlying root cause or reason for my, behaving in this way? Now, regularly assess and adjust your habits or your routines to ensure they're supporting your goals, but also your mental and overall well being. above all, or in addition to, let me say that instead, create a supportive community. Get yourself into supportive community, whether it's through a local community or an online group that share your aspiration challenges. My mother-in-law, when she was alive, talked to me about the Women's Institutes. They're global. So there we are. That's a great place to start. Or come and check us out, our Nations of Women as well. So today we've explored how to understand, what is it that motivates our habits, our actions, and meticulously, shape our environment, our circle, and how that can either empower us or disempower us. But ultimately, our goal and our desire is to live a fulfilled and a life that is intentional. Remember, the quality of your decisions shapes the story of your life. The story that you would tell will ultimately be the sum of the quality of all the decisions that you took or didn't take. So embrace who you've been created to be, set meaningful goals, cultivate a mindset that would allow you to grow. Surround yourself with a community that supports you and helps to unlock all the greatness that is inside of you because you're created for greater works. That is so true. So if you found today's episode inspiring or encouraging, then um, can I encourage you that you'd consider sharing it with a friend, or connect with us at Nations of Women. We have a community that supports your journey and a community that you can, access valuable resources, mentorship, friendship, whatever it is. Just visit our website. We have so many goodies for you. But remember, ultimately, that you were created for greater works. You're created for good works, and everything you need in order to fulfill the works for which you were created is already inherently in you. Now, whether or not you fulfill those is up to you. Whether or not those good things come to fruition, come to pass, will be determined by the habits that you choose and the actions that follows. So there's one thing you can do in order to fulfill the call that has been placed on your life in terms of who you've been created to be, what's your habits, what's your actions, and let us know how you get on. Until next time, take care. And that's all for this week. You've been listening to Dr. Tina Alton with the Now Talks, the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. All that remains is for me to say have a fantastic week, stay safe, and reach out if you need any help now at nationsofwomen.com. Until next time, enjoy the pursuit of your potential, and remember, now is your time.